Imagine that you are in front of a safe that has been closed for thousands of years. Within it, there is a secret so powerful that, when understood and applied, it has the potential to forever change the way you deal with money, security, and prosperity. Now, think for a moment. Why do some people accumulate wealth generation after generation, while others struggle their entire lives and never make it out of place? Is there anything other than hard work and financial literacy that separates those who thrive from those who live on the edge? Today, I'm going to tell you about a principle that has been hidden in the open. A word that carries in itself not only a concept, but a true formula for success used for centuries by one of the most prosperous communities in the world, the Jews. This secret is not a passing technique, nor a common strategy that you find in any financial self-help book. In fact, it is a code passed down over generations, and that directly influences the way money should be managed, protected, and multiplied. The most impressive thing is that this knowledge has always been within the reach of anyone, but few have really paid attention. That's because it wasn't taught in schools, nor shared widely by finance gurus. Rather, it was passed down from father to son, from mentor to disciple, creating a silent web of prosperity. If you feel that, no matter how hard you try, wealth seems to slip through your fingers, maybe it's because you still don't understand this concept in its essence. Now, before I reveal this secret, I want to tell you a story that can make you see this knowledge with different eyes. Many years ago, a young Jew grew up hearing from his grandfather a phrase repeated constantly: "The true treasure is not the gold you keep, but the gold you know how to protect." At first, he didn't understand what that meant. He saw people getting rich through business, investing, and of course, hard work. But what differentiated those who really prospered from those who made money and then lost everything? Time passed, and this young man saw his family go through difficult periods, times when many around him went bankrupt or lost everything. However, his family remained financially strong, even when the market was in crisis. It was only then that he began to understand the real meaning of his grandfather's words. Wealth was not only in the money that was earned, but in the way that money was treated, protected, and perpetuated. And the principle that underpinned all of this had a name: Segullah. This concept is what allowed so many Jewish families to maintain their financial stability over the centuries, even in the midst of wars, persecutions, and economic crises. It is not just a financial strategy. It is a system, an invisible code that shapes the mindset, decisions, and destiny of those who understand it. And the best part? You don't have to be born into a Jewish family to apply it. In today's world, where financial uncertainty dominates, where crises arise unexpectedly, and where people feel they have no control over their own economic security, understanding Segullah can be the key to transforming your relationship with money and ensuring a solid future for you and your family. Now you may be wondering, after all, what exactly does Segullah mean? How does it work? And, more importantly, how can you apply this principle in your life to finally achieve financial stability and growth? That's the answer we're going to explore from now on. But first, I want to make you a special invitation. Here, we are building a community focused on growth, learning, and financial transformation. It is not just about consuming information, but about creating a space where we can exchange experiences and find practical solutions together. So tell me here in the comments, what prevents you from achieving true wealth? Share your experience, because I read every comment, and bring content based on the real difficulties of those who are here. In addition, to continue discovering financial secrets of Jews that can change the way you deal with money, subscribe to the channel. Here we not only talk about wealth, but about how to create and maintain it, with strategies that have been tested and applicable in real life. Now the time has come for you to understand the true importance of Segullah, and to deepen this concept to learn how to put it into practice correctly. Segullah is a word that carries enormous weight within Jewish culture, but that few really understand in its entirety. In its literal meaning, we can translate it as special treasure or exclusive property, but this translation alone does not do justice to its true impact. For Jews, Segullah is not simply something valuable in the material sense, but a concept that transcends generations, protecting those who understand and apply it. It is a system of wealth preservation that goes far beyond money or goods, connecting directly to the mentality, the way of acting, and the way the community is financially structured. This idea has deep roots in biblical texts and Jewish tradition. In the Torah, Segullah appears as a divine promise of protection and prosperity for those who follow specific principles. But this is not a financial miracle that happens out of nowhere. The prosperity that this concept carries is directly linked to wisdom, discipline, and the ability to make intelligent decisions. It is a form of financial shielding and perpetuation of wealth that is reflected in the way Jews deal with money, business, and education. To understand the power of Segullah, just look at how this mindset has shaped entire communities throughout history. Even in the face of persecution, economic crises, and immense challenges, Jews were able to preserve and multiply their prosperity, while many around them struggled to maintain a stable standard of living. The difference was not only in the financial resources, but in the way these resources were managed and protected. And here comes an interesting point. This concept is not limited to a specific group. Anyone can apply the principles of Segullah in their life, regardless of background, religion, or financial situation. But to do so, you need to see beyond the obvious and understand that prosperity is not just about making money, but about how it is managed, invested, and passed on. Now think about how this principle fits into the current economic landscape. Today, we live in a world where financial instability is a reality for millions of people. Insecurity about the future is increasing, and many families face difficulties in building a solid foundation that can withstand market uncertainties. This is where Segullah becomes a differentiator. In the United States, for example, the culture of immediate consumption and unbridled debt puts many in a vulnerable financial situation. Credit cards, student loans, gigantic mortgages, it's all part of a system that encourages people to live on the edge, always depending on the next source of income to survive. But what if there was a way to break this cycle? The Segullah teaches that true wealth is not in ostentation or the accumulation of goods, but in security and continued prosperity. Therefore, many Jewish families not only build wealth, but do so in a structured way, ensuring that the next steps are already planned before they even become necessary. An example of this is the way Jews deal with financial education within their own family. While many people grow up without any instruction in how to manage money, young Jews learn early on about investing, controlling spending, and the importance of building assets, rather than just pursuing high salaries. This education does not only take place in schools or universities, but at home, in daily conversations, in practical examples that are passed down from generation to generation. This explains why, in several surveys, Jews appear among the most financially successful groups, regardless of the sector in which they operate. The secret is not in magic formulas, but in solid principles that are applied with discipline. The idea of Segullah involves more than just making money. It's about making sure it's managed well, so that it can grow and sustain itself regardless of external circumstances. Imagine a family that instead of teaching their children to just save money, instructs them to think strategically about how to make that money work for them. Instead of encouraging the search for high-paying jobs without financial planning, they show how to invest, undertake, and create multiple sources of income. This mentality changes everything, and this is one of the biggest differentials of Segullah. It does not depend on external factors. While many wait for opportunities to get rich, those who follow this principle create their own opportunities, building wealth consistently over time. The modern interpretation of this concept goes beyond the religious and cultural sphere. Today, Segullah can be seen as a true financial code, a model of success that anyone can adopt to transform their economic reality. The question is not whether it works, because the results are already in sight for anyone who wants to see it. The real question is, are you willing to apply these principles and change your relationship with money? So I want to know from you. What was the biggest lesson you ever learned about money? Leave it here in the comments. It could be something your family taught you, a financial mistake that made you change your mindset, or an insight you had along your journey. Share it with me because this is a learning space, and the more we exchange experiences, the stronger our community becomes. Now that you understand the deep meaning of Segullah, let's move on to the most important part. How can it be applied in practice to ensure financial stability and growth? Segullah is not a concept that brings wealth overnight. It has nothing to do with winning the lottery, finding a financial shortcut, or simply working tirelessly to exhaustion. This age-old principle is rooted in something much deeper, the intentional construction of prosperity over time. For those who apply this model, wealth is not an isolated goal, but rather the natural result of a structured mindset, well-defined habits, and a system that protects and multiplies resources, generation after generation. While many people see money as something fleeting, which comes and goes according to market circumstances, crises, or wrong decisions, those who live by the principles of Segullah see prosperity differently. For them, wealth is not just a bank balance or the number of assets accumulated, but rather a system of protection and continuous growth that ensures financial security in the long run. This is one of the great differentials of Jewish culture when it comes to money. The concern is not only in the present, but in the construction of something that can be transmitted and sustained for many generations. What makes this approach so powerful is that it doesn't rely on luck, exceptional talent, or even a favorable economic environment. It is a set of values and practices that anyone can adopt, as long as they are willing to change their way of thinking about money and wealth. Segullah turns prosperity into an intentional process rather than a random event. This means that building wealth becomes a matter of strategy, discipline, and mindset, rather than external circumstances. This concept is clearly manifested in the way many families structure their financial education. From a very early age, children learn that money should not be treated as something ephemeral, but rather as a valuable resource that needs to be protected and multiplied. In many cultures, the focus of financial education revolves around earning a good salary and avoiding overspending. But within the Segullah model, teaching goes far beyond that. It involves the idea that each person has a responsibility to preserve and expand the resources they receive, ensuring that this wealth grows and strengthens over time. This explains why, even in periods of economic instability, certain groups continue to thrive while others face constant hardship. The difference is not only in the amount of money they have, but in the way this money is managed and the commitment to continued prosperity. The Segullah creates a system of financial protection that prevents wealth from being wasted through lack of planning or impulsive decisions. To understand this in practice, imagine two families that start with the same income level. One of them adopts the traditional mentality of seeking immediate comfort, spending what you earn, and trusting that in the future there will always be new opportunities to recover what was lost. The other, following the principles of the Segullah, sees each dollar as a fundamental piece for the construction of a system of financial stability. Instead of spending impulsively, this family directs their resources strategically, ensuring that every financial decision contributes to a larger long-term plan. The difference between these two approaches may seem subtle in the short term, but over the years the results become extremely visible. The first family may even have moments of prosperity, but it is always vulnerable to crises and unforeseen events. The second, on the other hand, builds a true financial shield, capable of withstanding any difficulty and ensuring that the next generations have a solid foundation to continue growing. This is the essence of Segullah, to transform prosperity into something that goes beyond the individual, creating a financial legacy that protects not only those who are building the wealth, but also those who will come after. This is a concept that is deeply rooted in Jewish culture, and that is reflected in the way communities organize and strengthen themselves financially. And here's an important detail. Segullah isn't just about money. It involves values, education, and the way a person sees their role within their own financial history. Within this mindset, prosperity is not something external, but rather part of the identity and purpose of life. This view makes all the difference when it comes to accumulating and maintaining wealth, because it completely changes the way financial decisions are made. While many people think of money as only a means to achieve comfort and status, those who follow the principles of Segullah see wealth as a tool to build something lasting. They understand that true prosperity is not just in having money, but in knowing how to use it wisely. ensuring that it continues to grow and benefit future generations. This approach also helps to avoid one of the biggest problems many families face, the loss of wealth over time. Studies show that most fortunes dissolve in a few generations because there is no clear system to protect and perpetuate them. Without a well-defined plan, money can be wasted on bad investments, unnecessary spending, or simply mismanaged. That is why Segullah emphasizes the importance of financial education and strategic planning so much. He teaches that wealth must be managed wisely, always taking into account the impact of each decision in the future. It's not just about making money, it's about making sure that money is put to the best possible use to create a lasting legacy. Now take a moment and think, how have you been dealing with your own prosperity? Are you building a system that ensures financial security for the future? Or are you just reacting to circumstances without a clear plan? For you to have a positive answer to these questions and continue learning about how to build wealth intelligently and strategically, leave your like on the video. On this channel, I talk about real strategies, tested and proven over time. No empty promises or shortcuts that don't work. What you learn here is based on principles that have stood the test of time with Jews, and that can transform your financial life. Now that we understand how Segullah becomes a safe path to prosperity, let's take it a step further and explore the 3 elements that make this concept work in practice. If you apply these principles, you will be building a true financial shield that can change your story forever. If there's one thing that differentiates those who consistently build wealth from those who live a financial roller coaster, it's the system behind their decisions. Segullah is not a trick nor a magic formula, but a set of principles applied in a structured way that make money stop being a constant concern and become a powerful tool to generate freedom and stability. For this to happen, there are 3 fundamental elements that ensure that prosperity is not only achieved, but maintained and expanded over time. The first of these elements is financial education as part of identity. This is the point where most people fail, and that separates those who prosper from those who live in the never-ending cycle of scarcity. In many homes, money is a forbidden subject or treated with fear and misinformation. People grow up without understanding how credit, interest, investments, and the opportunities available to multiply resources work. In contrast, within Jewish communities, learning about money is not an option, but rather a necessity passed down from generation to generation. The concept of chochmat hamamon, or money wisdom, teaches that wealth is not something that is achieved with effort alone, but rather with intelligence and strategy. From an early age, children are encouraged to understand the value of money, the difference between assets and liabilities, and the importance of creating multiple sources of income. They are not only taught to save, but to invest, to negotiate, and to think about the impact of each financial decision throughout their lives. And that's one of the great secrets of the Segullah. Wealth is not just about how much you earn, but about what you do with what you earn. While many adults live hostage to credit cards, unable to get out of debt, those who learned from an early age to deal with money strategically develop a completely different relationship with prosperity. Not only do they manage their earnings better, but they also have a long-term vision that prevents them from falling into the traps of unbridled consumption. And here's something that can completely change the way you see wealth. Financial education doesn't have to come from an expensive course or a college degree. In fact, the most powerful principles are simple and can be learned in an accessible way. Want a challenge? Pick up a finance book or course and dedicate 30 days to study. But don't stop there. Teach someone close to you about what you have learned. This process of teaching reinforces learning and makes financial knowledge part of your daily life. But understanding money is not enough if it is not protected. And here comes the second element of Segullah, the protection of wealth through community. Unlike the individualistic mentality that many adopt, prosperity within Jewish culture is a collective system. There is a sense of responsibility in helping each other grow financially, while ensuring that no one within the community is left vulnerable to economic hardship. This principle is visible in the financial support networks, which function as a kind of invisible insurance that protects and boosts those who are part of the group. From an early age, Jews learn that wealth is safer when shared and protected by a trusted network. The concept of chavruta, for example, teaches that learning and growing in pairs or in groups is the most effective way to achieve lasting results. This means that instead of competing to see who makes the most money, these communities work together to strengthen everyone's financial stability. A practical example of this system is the Gemach, a community interest-free loan fund that allows people within the community to access capital without the abusive rates of the financial market. This means that when someone needs money to start a business, invest in education, or even get through a difficult time, they can rely on this support system that ensures that financial growth is sustainable. This concept can be applied in your life in a simple way, creating a reliable network of contacts. Having people around you with a growth mindset and who can exchange experiences and financial knowledge makes all the difference. This can be done in the professional environment, in study groups, or even among friends and family who share the same goals of prosperity. Wealth doesn't have to be a lonely path, and being surrounded by people who encourage you to grow can be the deciding factor in changing your financial life. But there's no point in learning about money and protecting it if it's not being used strategically. The third element of Segullah is the intelligent use of money. And here's one of the most common mistakes that keep people from getting rich: treating money as something that needs to be spent rather than something that should be planted. Most people receive a paycheck and immediately start paying bills, shopping, and spending on things that bring immediate pleasure, but no return in the future. In contrast, those who follow the principle of Segullah see each dollar as a seed. Money, when well used, has the power to multiply and generate even more wealth, but for that, it needs to be invested correctly. Within this mindset, the top investments are those that generate long-term value. This includes buying real estate, quality education, building businesses, and assets that appreciate in value over time. This strategic vision prevents money from being wasted on impulsive spending and ensures that every financial decision contributes to a financially secure future. Avoiding the trap of uncontrolled consumption is one of the great challenges within a system that encourages indebtedness. Easy access to credit and the culture of buy now, pay later create an illusion of purchasing power that, in the end, ends up trapping people in endless cycles of debt. That's why understanding the difference between good and bad debt is essential. Debts used to finance assets that generate returns can be strategic, while those taken on to sustain a lifestyle beyond financial means should be avoided at all costs. A good exercise to apply this principle is to analyze your expenses and identify which ones really add value to your future. Take a cut of those that don't bring any real benefit and direct that money to something that can generate financial growth. It can be an investment, a course, or even the construction of an emergency fund that brings more security to your life. These three fundamental elements are the foundation of Segullah, and with this knowledge you are ready to take the next step and learn how to create your own personal system of prosperity. This can completely change your financial trajectory, and I'll show you how to do it in a practical way. Segullah is not just an abstract philosophy. It is a model of action, a framework that can be applied in any context to create financial security and lasting prosperity. The secret is to implement a solid and well-structured plan, which allows not only to accumulate wealth, but also to protect and multiply it over time. And for this, 3 steps are essential. The first step is to create a family financial code. In many cultures, money is handled emotionally, without real planning. People earn, spend, and try to save without a clear direction. This makes financial life vulnerable to unforeseen events, and the construction of wealth becomes much more difficult. In contrast, within the Jewish mindset, every family has well-defined rules about how money should be managed. It's not just about saving or avoiding debt, but about establishing a financial code of conduct that ensures that every economic decision is aligned with a larger goal. This principle is known as Heshbon Hanefesh, which means personal accountability. The core idea is that all financial choices should be made with full awareness and responsibility. You don't spend money without a clear purpose, you don't invest without first calculating the risks and benefits, and you don't make decisions based only on momentary impulses. This prevents money from being wasted and ensures that every penny is used strategically. To apply this to your life, the first step is to define solid principles for your financial management. Ask yourself, how much of your income will be saved? What percentage will be allocated to investments? How do you intend to deal with your debts? Creating these guidelines in a clear and organized way helps you establish a plan that brings predictability to your finances, eliminating the fear and insecurity caused by impulsive decisions. Practical way to do this is to create a document or a board where you write down your own financial rules. This can include anything from spending limits to investment goals and strategies for dealing with emergencies. Having this code visualized in your daily life helps you stay focused and disciplined, preventing wrong decisions from hindering your financial progress. But creating a plan alone is not enough. And here comes the second step, building a financial safety net. This is one of the great differentials of Jewish culture when it comes to prosperity. Wealth should not depend exclusively on a single individual. It needs to be anchored in a collective support system. Many people believe that financial independence means not depending on anyone. But the truth is that those who truly thrive understand the power of strategic connections. From an early age, Jews learn that a support network can be the difference between financial success and failure. If an entrepreneur struggles, he knows he can count on the community to help him get back on his feet. If someone needs an investment to grow a business, there is a support system for that. And if a young person wants to start their financial journey, they have access to mentors and opportunities that facilitate this path. This model of interdependence creates an environment where everyone strengthens together, reducing individual risks and increasing the chances of collective success. This approach can be applied by anyone, regardless of the context in which they are inserted. The first step is to identify who are the people around you who can add value to your financial growth. It can be a mentor, a business partner, an investment study group, or even friends who share the same goals of prosperity. Building these strategic connections does not mean relying on others to get rich, but rather creating an environment where knowledge, opportunities, and resources are shared intelligently. This may mean exchanging experiences about investments, forming a group to study finance, sharing important contacts, or even finding ways to collaborate professionally that generate mutual growth. To make this even more practical, a challenge you can apply today is to list 3 people who can contribute to your financial growth. Reach out to them, start conversations about business, investments, and opportunities. Creating this support network can open doors that you didn't even imagine. Finally, the third step to consolidating your personal Segullah is to apply the money strategically, ensuring that it works in your favor. Many people believe that saving money is enough to ensure financial security, but this mindset can be a big mistake. The idle money does not grow. It needs to be invested intelligently so that it can generate more wealth and create a continuous cycle of prosperity. The golden rule within this principle is simple. Idle money dies, invested money grows. If you receive extra money today, how can you use it to generate more in the future? This is the mindset that separates those who simply work to make money from those who make money work for them. Jews, throughout history, have understood that investing is the key to multiplying wealth. They not only save, but direct their capital to assets that appreciate in value over time. This includes investments in real estate, education, self-owned businesses, and other assets that ensure sustainable returns. This thinking prevents money from being wasted on unnecessary consumption and makes every financial decision be made with a long-term vision. The biggest problem that prevents many people from growing financially is the habit of prioritizing immediate gains over building a solid future. This happens because the surrounding system encourages quick consumption and the search for instant pleasures. However, those who manage to break this cycle and adopt a long-term investment mindset build wealth that grows continuously and securely. To apply this principle, start by analyzing your own financial habits. Identify which expenditures really add value to your future and which just drain your resources without bringing real benefits. A practical way to do this is to review your budget and cut unnecessary expenses, redirecting this money to investments that can bring consistent returns in the future. It could be an emergency fund, an investment in stocks, a course that increases your skills, or even starting a new business. True prosperity does not happen by chance. It follows a pattern, a set of principles that, when applied correctly, lead to predictable and lasting results. Segullah is not a mystical idea or an unattainable concept. It is a practical system that has been used for centuries to ensure financial security and continued growth. Those who understand this code and apply it in the right way can transform their relationship with money and build a solid future without depending on luck or external factors. If you followed this journey this far, you've already realized that wealth isn't just a matter of how much money goes into your account, but rather how it's managed, invested, and protected. The most financially successful people are not those who only earn well, but those who have a clear plan and make strategic decisions that ensure their continued prosperity. When you start to see your financial life this way, everything changes. The fear of crises decreases, decisions stop being impulsive, and financial freedom becomes a matter of time, not luck. Now I want to challenge you. Which of these Segullah strategies is already part of your life? Do you already have a well-defined financial plan, or are you still in the process of learning how to multiply your money? Comment below. This simple gesture can help you see your next steps more clearly and still inspire others on this journey. If you've come this far, it's because you're really looking for something bigger for your financial life. And to have access to the secret and proven knowledge that can transform your reality and learn principles that really work, then check now if you are already subscribed to the channel and like the video. Here was just the beginning. In the next video, I'll reveal one of the biggest secrets of Jewish financial management, a little-known principle that can completely change the way you deal with money. If you really want to take your prosperity to the next level, click now and continue this journey with me.